Hello, hello. Bl'Artagnan here, bringing you Wyrm of Chaos Lufenia, Act 3, Chapter 3, Part 1. Bringing one last team through this because I wanted to see how Edward would do here. I was excited when he got his LD boards, even though I knew he wasn't the most exciting unit we're going to be seeing for a bit. But he's a favorite of mine. I wanted to see how we could do with him here. Enabling Trey. Gonna tell you, this is going to be a bit of a wild ride. The ending certainly was unexpected. Not to get ahead of myself. Oh, and before we begin, hit that likes button, hit that subscribe button. I know it's kind of overplayed to say that on YouTube, but it does help me out quite a bit. Anyway, so the name of the game with this team is off-turn damage. We got Galuf with his crazy counters. We got Trey with his ridiculous traps and his arrows and stuff. Then for the first phase of the fight, that's really just how it's going to go, you know. Actually, with Edward, we're just straight up battering through them because they resist magic, but we don't care. This team has a ton of battery on it, with Galuf and Edward both bringing that encouragement high armor that we love so much now. The tricky part with this team is going to be that in the second phase of the fight, the boss counters magic, and Edward has a decent amount of AoE in his kit, so we're going to have to do a number of goofy things to get around that, along with dealing with the recast. Edward's EX buff actually can help deal with that recast by neutering the Brave gains if you can stack it right, so we'll see if I'm able to pull that off. You see here, I'm trying to get A below 80% before Trey's EX buff falls off him. You can see here, we actually succeed in doing that off turn, thanks to Trey's LD buff. Wait, nope, I was wrong. That was the other. Sorry, it took me a few attempts to get this rundown, getting it just right. I tried without a Tifa friend at first, and it didn't go well. It may be possible. It's probably possible without using a Tifa friend, but I'm a lazy bastard, and she deals a lot of damage. Really just kind of saves a lot of time, you know? You can see how long this run is without using Tifa to delete half the boss's health by herself. So there you can see Edward's EX buff coming into play, saving us from Eldnarsh Mannequin's phase shift attack. Likewise, hoping that this next AoE attack that Bahamut's about to throw out is going to come down to nothing. Okay, it came down to something there. Alright, he got some brave hits in there. Oh, I see you there. But the bosses are pretty tanky here. We're relying heavily on basically all three of the party members bringing a bunch of brave damage up through their debuffs or buffs. You'll see Edward's actually about to run out of his LD debuff in a couple turns, which is kind of annoying because I was hoping to save as many lullabies as I could for the final section of the fight. So we'll have to use one earlier than I'd like, but we'll live. So you'll see here, I got greedy and decided to let Galuf's LD buff fall off in order to get an extra EX turn. Part of the consequences of me trying to use a non-Tifa friend here was I was in a very conservative mindset going into this because I actually ran out of Galuf LD buffs by the end of that attempt. So I was thinking to myself, this way I can get a few turns of Galuf counters without having the LD buff up. You know, he's at full health. We'll be okay. In any case, the LD buff is back up and running again. Oh, wait a second. Sorry, I goofed that up. That wasn't the LD buff that was falling off. That was the EX buff that was falling off. All these runs are starting to mix together for me at this point. It took a little bit of effort to get to this point, and I couldn't quite remember what went where. One of the trickier bits that going to this fight with this team that I didn't realize is that I knew you could dodge the boss's magic counterattack, but it becomes a little bit trickier when Edward's on the field. Or when Galuf's on the field, because he has that the cover, and his magic dodging isn't perfect. Definitely lost a run to that as well. So Eld's defense buff is finally fallen off, so we can hit him again, but he's put a shield up, so that's annoying. Trying to kind of split our damage here, because the boss is he's getting close to that 50% threshold. And we'd like Eld Mannequin to die because, you know, all of the off-turn damage we're doing on it is basically single target, so it doesn't really help us that much to keep him alive. It's not like with Eldnarsh or Gladio, some of the off-turn damage that shows up when Eldnarsh takes a turn, the Mannequin takes a turn, you can target that towards A, or their splash damage or something. With this, it's all just kind of being piled onto the Mannequin, so we're fine with the Mannequin dying relatively early. That said, Bahamut is now in the second phase. This is going to get a little bit testy, because we got that counterattack to watch out for, and that recast. Both of those are pretty fearsome. We have to restack various buffs and stuff. It's getting Edward's EX buff stacked up is going to be tricky with that counterattack in place. We're going to have to figure out what we're doing there. There's just a lot to keep track of right here with this team. So I decided to kind of make things a bit easier. We're going to start with Dissension and Unseen here with our Ciela. We started with the LD buff to prevent the Brave gains, and followed it up with the HP Silence to prevent the recast from actually going off. This was a bit of experimentation here. I wasn't actually sure whether HP Silence would prevent the counterattack, and it turns out it does, which is fantastic. Dodging the sleep, which is great, because that is a potent attack down debuff. It would really kind of hurt a lot of our off-turn Galuf damage. So now, I'm going to go ahead and send you into the sky. You want to be charging that Edward EX, so maybe I should have used Hide there in hindsight. Wanted to drop the defense down on the boss, but... So my hope here is to use the EX attack from Trey to kill the shield so it doesn't push off the HP Silence, and we managed to do that there. Pretty happy about that, stacking those Brave damage effects. And there I did Hide there to refresh his buff, but I probably should have EX'd in hindsight since the HP Silence was on him. So now the HP Silence is off, and that's kind of frustrating. So now we're trying to focus a lot of our damage on Bahamut, because Edward can't really afford to hit him, so we basically are a man down in terms of damaging that guy. Granted, Trey and Galuf were our main damage sources anyway, but that was the thinking there. Edward once again preventing phase shift from doing anything to us, so that was kind of inconsequential. We're about halfway through the turn count, we're getting there. So I think we're working at a pretty good pace here, especially given who we have in our pocket. Go ahead and Hide there. I'm going to continue not using the Mystic Waltz, which I'm probably going to end up regretting. So we're going to bring Tifa in for Trey, because we're going to be relying on Edward's auras to both to manage the recast and to auras to buff the team, Lullaby to manage the recast. That's what I was trying to say, Jesus. So I brought Mog Call here in hopes of getting a Clutch Confuse, which I was actually able to get in the other run I mentioned with Garland. Unfortunately, Mog is a furry little traitor, as you're about to see. He didn't do shit for me. So I'm pretty disappointed. So we're going to go ahead and pop that Meteor Crusher. Now with Galuf, we're going to go ahead and attack... We're going to attack him, I guess. Which is fine, because he slept through his turn there. He does have another turn of recast, which I'm a bit nervous about, so we're going to try Moogle March number 2. Or Mog Call number 2. Unfortunately, Mog, as I said before, is a furry little traitor, and did nothing for me. I'm going to have to unsubscribe to Excalibur for suggesting that trick. I mean, you know, it's a 30% chance. That's my own doing there. I did my best. It wasn't enough, but it's okay. So now let's go ahead and use our last Tifa turn. Deal some good damage. Down to 30% health, 32%, along with 18% on the mannequin. So with our last Galuf LD here, it's getting down to the wire. We're kind of running low on ways to manage the boss as well, with Edward there. I'm pretty nervous. Not to overplay the drama or anything, but the fact that the mannequin's still alive and we're down to our last lullaby. There's a lot going on here. We don't have 3 stacks of the EX debuff on him. Should the recast end up coming up again, like there's a lot of reasons for me to be concerned at this point. Go ahead and reapply Grand Delta to get more Brave damage up on them. Continue smacking that dragon. All right. Go ahead and hide again. I would love to Mystic Waltz here, but I'm nervous about that counterattack. So we're going to go ahead and get some free damage from Cam Call here. I had used the Cam LD Call earlier on Trey to try to get some extra damage using, with the refunds and stuff, but I probably could have done better. In hindsight, it didn't end up playing out the way I was hoping it would. Now Galuf has been put to sleep, which is depressing because he's hitting 1s. I decide we'll throw an HP attack there. It does cap the team, which is good for the launch. Mannequin's getting kind of low. You may also notice the turns have gotten a little bit sketch here. I hadn't noticed that they'd crept up in this way, but well, you can see now C has 2 back-to-back turns with the recast about to come up. So we're going to go ahead and dodge and counter. L's going to continue to be useless. Plus, oh my god, it actually hurt us this time. Terrifying. And here we go. Recast to the face. So I thought the run was dead right here. I saw the 0 hit points and was like, oh, that's it. We lose. Wait, hold on. Galuf's not dead. That man is too angry to die. This old man is too furious to die to that recast. I'd forgotten that was a part of his LD buff. I just thought he had last stand. So I'm kind of losing my mind a little bit at this point. They'd kind of given up, so I was like, wait, what? Now what? Okay, so I see here we have the sleep. Want to see if we can't take advantage of that. Give Edward a chance to get that 3rd stack on him if possible. So that's 1 turn. Unfortunately, the traps wake him up. Makes me even more nervous. So I'm going to go ahead and Mystic Waltz and roll the dice. Thankfully, the counter misses and does not blow Galuf away. Unfortunately, Edward has another turn coming up, which I'm really quite nervous about, adding on top of everything else we're dealing with here. Gonna go ahead and hide. Battery, and we might just have something here. And there we go. Cleared without a burst, without Bart's, without Tifa in the party. I'm just feeling really good about that. No synergy. Whew, that was a stressful one. Hope you enjoyed. I sure did. Almost surprised I managed to clear that. But yeah, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Adios.